Alright guys, we've done so much to this point that I want to create a small chill lesson. So in this lesson, we're just going to fix the players or the runners going outside of the road and improve the graphics a little bit. So first things first, let's open the materials folder and create a new material for our runners. Okay, let's say runners or maybe just runner. Then you want to open the runner prefab right here. Okay, let's only select the body and under the materials tab here, change the material to our runner material. So where it is? Here it is. Perfect. Now we can go back to our hierarchy and you can notice that if you change any property on the runner material, it automatically changes the material of all of our runners. Perfect. So let's color them maybe bluish. And it's not clear enough here because we still have a lighting thing that we did not talk about. And this is the fog. So to disable the fog, click on the window tab, select lighting, rendering, sorry, and lighting. Okay, let's dock this window right next to the inspector. Click the environment tab and disable the fog. Perfect. You can notice the difference when enabling and disabling it. Okay, let's disable it for now. Then we can select our runner material and add a little bit of emission to diminish the shadow effect right here on the left, on the right. So let's add some emission. Maybe it's going to be some bluish emission. Okay, perfect. This is great. Then what we want to do is to bring the camera back a little bit because it's too close to the runners for now. So let's select the Cinemachine camera and increase the Y offset right here and the Z offset, diminish the Z offset like so. All right. On the aim component, increase the Y value a little bit to have a better view of what's in front of us. Let's hit play. And perfect, we already have a better view here of the runners and so on. Cool. Now we want to improve the shadows a little bit here. So what we're going to do is click on File, click on Edit, sorry, and select Project Settings. Okay, let's dock this window next to the lighting window. Perfect. Let's make it a bit bigger. All right. Select quality. And when selecting quality, in the quality level, select medium. This is better suited for mobiles. Then click on the Unity RP medium quality asset. Select it and go to the inspector tab to view its options. Okay. Now let's just drag a temporary chunk right here to be able to see the shadows. Okay, now we have a better view of the shadows of the runners. So let's go back to our universal RP asset. It's in the settings folder, medium quality, okay? And here you can play a bit with the distance of the shadows. So when decreasing it, further objects won't have shadows, but closer objects will have clearer shadows. So for mobile, it's better to keep the cascade count to 1 or 2. So the cascade count will make transitions between close and far objects. All right. So you can improve the distance, but set the first cascade to something like, like 20 meters, and it's already pretty nice. All right. Now we want to diminish the strength of our shadows. So select the directional light and diminish its strength. All right, now that's better. We're getting somewhere. Then let's assign a new material to our chunk here to have a better contrast between the chunk and the runners. So let's go to the materials folder, create a new material and call it maybe ground. All right. Now let's select each and every chunk. So for this, select the chunk we just created, click on select and open the short one. Select the chunk renderer and under the materials property, select our ground material. Same thing for the two other ones. So like so, ground material and long chunk renderer ground material. All right, we now have a ground material assigned to all of our chunks. So let's change the color of the ground a bit. So open the materials folder, ground material, diminish the smoothness of the material, and maybe change the color to something so opposite to blue to have a better contrast. Maybe a bit dark to better see the players. Maybe some brownish color. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Maybe you can use something like dark blue, or yeah, we still have a good contrast like so. All right, but let's use let's use this brown color. Okay, perfect. Next, we want to add some kind of water just for now. We will improve it later, but let's create a new plane. So 3D object plane, and let's call it water. Okay. We can remove the mesh collider because we won't collide with it. So remove. Let's bring it down a bit. Okay, let's make this window smaller and the scene a bit bigger. Okay. Let's increase the size of our water to something like 100 and 100 on the z-axis too. Maybe we should bring it up a bit. All right. Then we can create a new material for our water. So let's create a new one and call it water. You can drag and drop it onto the water to assign it to it. We can remove the emission from it and make the color maybe a bit darker, or yeah, this blue seems nice. Perfect. Now if we play the game, so let's maximize the game window, play the game, and yeah, it's much better. You see, it's more satisfying to play now. Okay, cool. Let's hit play again, and let's see how we can clamp the position of the runners on the x-axis. Okay, let's hit play. So for that, we want to select the player game object and open the player controller. Okay. So first off, we will need a reference to our crowd system because we want to know the exact radius of the crowd. You remember we made the crowd using the Fermat spiral, and now we want to know the radius of that spiral. So let's say elements. Let's add a serialized field property for our crowd system. Okay, and let's call it crowd system. And inside the crowd system, let's add a new method that will return the radius of our crowd. So here we are going to write a quick function to get the radius of the crowd. So it's going to be a public function. It's going to return a float, which is the radius of the crowd. And let's call it get crowd radius. All right, perfect. Then we know that the radius of the crowd is the radius of the Fermat spiral we used here. So let's just return this value, copy it. Let's write return this. And here, instead of using the index, we want the total amount of runners we've got. So it's going to be runners parent.child count. As easy as it is. All right. Now let's go back to the player controller. And on the line we've just written right here, we are going to take into account the radius of our crowd. So here we want to add the crowd system dot get radius, crowd radius. All right, let's hit enter right after the comma, and here we want to subtract it from the right bound. Sorry, so let's say crowd system dot get crowd radius. All right, now we should see that if we hit play, the crowd cannot cross the right bound of the road nor the left bound. Perfect. We can also increase the amount of runners, so select all of them, duplicate them a bunch of times, and you can see that it's not crossing the right and left bound. Awesome. In the next lesson, we are going to see how to add the doors to be able to increase or decrease the amount of runners along the road. Stay tuned.